Welcome to the Pride Flag Pin video tutorial by Fillory Yarn. You will find 6 small yarn bundles in Pride flag colors, printed instructions and 2 small pins inside your kit. Apart from that, you will need a 4mm crochet hook and a pair of scissors to complete the project. Let's get started with our Pride Flag Pin project. We'll start working our first color stripe, which is purple. You can see that the first row of your project is already worked for you. Now make sure you're holding the work with the large loop on the right end and the tail on the left end. Place your hook inside the loop and pull yarn to tighten the loop around the hook. Now let's start working the second row of our project. To work this row, you will need to do 1 chain stitch followed by 15 single crochet stitches. Chain stitch and single crochet stitch are the 2 stitches that you will need to learn to complete this project. Now let's do the chain stitch. You're going to lift up the yarn with your left hand and hold the project in your left hand as well, like this. And you're going to wrap yarn around the hook. So you're going to pass the hook under the yarn and then bring it over like that. So see how this brings up a bit of yarn over the hook? This is called yarn over. Let's do that again. So the hook goes under the yarn and then over like that, and then pull yarn through the loop. That creates your chain stitch right here. Now let's start working with a single crochet stitch. Single crochet stitch is a 2-step stitch. For step 1, you are going to insert your hook into the stitch like so and pull yarn through the stitch. Now you will have 2 loops on the hook. For step 2, you are going to do yarn over and pull through both these loops. Once again, insert hook into the stitch, pull yarn through the stitch. Now you are left with 2 loops on the hook. You are going to yarn over and go through both. That is your single crochet stitch. Let's do more of those. Insert hook into the stitch and pull yarn through. For the next step, you are going to yarn over and pull through both the loops on the hook. Once more, insert hook into the stitch, pull yarn through. Step 2, you are going to yarn over and pull through both the loops. Now that's how your project should look as you start working the single crochet stitches. You'll start working from the right end of your row towards the left end. Your project should look something like this when you have finished row 2. Now we are ready to cut this yarn, leaving about a 2-inch tail. Use your hook to pull the tail through the loop and close it shut to finish this row. Turn your work and we are ready for the next color stripe, which will be blue. This is the top of the single crochet row that we have completed. Now to attach new color, we are going to insert hook through the stitch like usual and pick up the new color with your left hand and pull it through the stitch. Make sure you're leaving at least a 2-inch tail every time you attach a new color. Now let's start working row 3. The first stitch is a chain stitch, which will be yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. That's one chain stitch done. Now we are going to do single crochet stitch, insert into the stitch, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Insert into the next stitch, pull through, yarn over and pull through both loops. Insert into the stitch, pull through, yarn over and pull through both loops. So that is your single crochet stitches in the next color. So we are going to complete this row exactly the same way that we did our previous row. Your project should look something like this at the end of row 3. Now you are going to turn your work and start working row 4. Row 4 is worked exactly the same way as we did row 2. So turn your work and we are continuing to work with the same color. Chain 1 and single crochet. For single crochet, again insert into the stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. So we will be working 2 rows in each color to complete the pride flag pin. This is the completed pride flag pin project. Now we can do more finishing touches like tying the yarn ends together 2 at a time. Once all your yarn ends are knotted, you can trim them evenly. So if your project is curling up like this, you can wash it and dry it flat to make it look more finished. You can also sew your pin using a regular sewing needle and thread. Those are some finishing touches you can do to your project. We hope you enjoyed it and we appreciate your participation and support. Thank you.